Yo, what's good, y'all? It's Torrance. Man, we gonna talk about how I develop my film at home. So let's talk about what you're gonna need. Obviously, you're gonna need some film. Duh. You're gonna need some chemicals. Duh. You're gonna need some water. Duh. Somewhere to do this at. Duh. Anything else I can duh y'all about? Some time. Duh. Okay, I'm gonna actually touch on the safety aspect of this first. If you're developing color film, these chemicals are toxic. Like, you should not be huffing these chemicals or, sitting in a room, an enclosed room with no ventilation with them. You also shouldn't be allowing these chemicals to get on your hands or on your skin for long periods of time. First, you need to buy a developing kit off of Amazon. This is how it looks, and I'll put a link below so that you guys can just click it. And I'm gonna put a link below for everything that I'm talking about in this video. Another thing that you need to get, like I told you guys, be safe out here. You need to get some latex gloves. I would suggest having something of long sleeves. Cover your skin as much as you possibly can. I would also suggest getting these breathe masks if you can't be in a well ventilated room. Okay, so you'll need these bottles, and I got 4 of them. So I have one that's marked developer, Blix, stabilizer, and water. With these bottles, if you use these particular bottles here that's in this link, all you have to do is add water to the chemicals and it'll be balanced out perfectly. All right. And when you add the water to the chemicals, just leave maybe a little bit of space in there. Don't fill it all the way up to the point where it overflows. Leave a little bit of space in there, close it up. Just give it, agitate the bottle just a little bit, just to make sure the chemicals are all stirred up. And it's very important that when you store these chemicals, you store them in a dark, cool place. All right, you want to keep oxygen and light away from your chemicals. So make sure that those bottles are tight. Make sure it's in a cool place. Make sure it's in a dark place as well. I keep mine in my closet. Okay, another thing you're gonna need is a thermometer. I use this digital meat thermometer. You're gonna use this thermometer to check the temperature of your water and also your chemicals. When you're going in between chemicals, always rinse the thermometer off. You do not want to mix Blix with your developer, or you're shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. So be very careful not to mix your chemicals. Just treat it like a sanitation process. In between each thing, just rinse that thermometer off, all right? Nothing you'll need is some clothespins. You can get some silver metal clips if you want, and you can get some yarn. I didn't have to put yarn on here, but I use yarn sometimes when I can't hang them up in my office like I need to. Oh yeah. The one thing you're really gonna need, keep the directions. Keep the directions that come in the box of the developer kit. Those directions, they have tips on there on how to push film if you need to. And it's also just great to always have a reminder of actually how to develop the film without having to come and stare at me. But you can come stare at me anytime. All right. In the description, I'm going to have just some detailed notes as well about, temperatures and things like that. So check that out. The first thing I like to do is heat up my chemicals. And I use this little bin in my tub to do this. First thing I measure and I check the water temperature to make sure the water's a little bit above 102. And depending on when you start this warming process, you may want to exceed, 103, 104, 105, because you're going to have your chemicals sitting there. Like, I usually do it before I get in the black bag. So I'll put mine maybe on 107, 108, and I'll go in my black bag because I'm nice like that in the black bag, get my film going. By the time I get my film done and into the bathroom, my chemicals are about at 101, 102, maybe sometimes over. I prefer for chemicals to be over a little bit because it's actually easier to bring the chemicals down in temperature than to bring them up in temperature, at least in my personal experience. But if you do pull out your developer, throw that thermometer in there and you check it, and let's say it's over a little bit or under a little bit, use this technique here to bring those temperature down or up to where you want it to be at. Okay, so now you got your film in the developing tank. First thing you got to do is rinse the film. All right, so you fill the tank up, rinse it, pour it out. Yes, it's gonna look like this, and do not freak out. This is normal. All right. Okay, so now you have your developer temperature where you want it. Now you're gonna pour it inside your developing tank. Once you pour it in there, and pour it slowly. You don't want it to be gushing all over the place and splashing. Remember, these chemicals are toxic. Okay, you gotta be very careful with them. Once you pour it in there, you put the lid back on tightly. Make sure the lid is back on. And this little technique that I use here is called burping. You press down on the middle of that bin and you lift the side lip up. Most times I'll usually cover my other hand like this just to stop any spray from getting out. But I was being reckless, so I didn't. Well, actually, not really reckless. I'm a pro, so I knew the lid wasn't going to squirt out. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm doing out here. All right? So that's called burping. And what burping does is allow some of the air bubbles to get out of that developing tank. All right? And then you smack that lid on there. And then you just follow those directions. You know, first 10 seconds, you agitating. Boom. And then you do 4 inversions of that every 30 seconds. Okay? You do 4, boom, every 30 seconds. Now, that's what they tell you to do. Now, as you can see on my video, I do mine differently. I like very contrasty film. I like contrasty images. So, I do a little more inversions every 30 seconds. But I would say if it's your first time, follow those directions to a T. Don't deviate from them. Just follow those directions. All right. Okay, so now that you're done developing, the next thing you're going to need to do is clear out your development tank. Use this nice little funnel. And I mark no food on this funnel. I don't have any kids, but I do have people that come over my house, and I'm not sure if, you know, maybe I'm developing one day. I may leave this out. I mark no food on there. You know, I don't want anybody to accidentally use this thing for anything other than chemicals or like dirt or something that you're not going to be eating. All you're going to do is the same thing. Pour your chemicals outside your development tank slowly. You know, you don't want to pour it too fast. You don't want a lot of bubbles coming up and things like that. And you don't want chemicals splashing everywhere. And once you're done, tighten that bottle back up. If you have more film to process later, put it back on warm water. If not, go ahead and store it in your dark place. All right. Now with the Blix, I'm going to say this again. Now this Blix, this is the most harmful chemical in this kit. This chemical, if you inhale it, if it gets in your eyes, if it gets on your skin for a long period of time, in your mouth, you need to call poison control. And when I say inhale, I'm not talking about like it just gets you a little bit. I'm saying if you accidentally do a deep breath, you're probably gonna pass out. Like it's gonna hurt like hell. Because even if you breathe in a little bit, that Blix is harmful. I'm not saying this is scary. I'm just saying this so that you're very careful. So please have on some eyewear, gloves, sleeves, and something to protect your respiratory system. So now, same thing with Blix. Pour it in nicely and slowly. Get into your container, burp it. Start your agitation process as it says on your sheet. All right, now that you're done with the Blix, same thing. Remember, this chemical is highly toxic. Slowly pour this back into your bottle. Tighten that bottle up. If you're going to use this in like the next couple of 30 minutes or an hour or something, put it back into some warm water so that you can easily get that temperature back up. If not, store it in a dark place. All right, now you get to the rinse process. After you use the Blix, your images can now be exposed to light. You could do this whole thing in bright light. All right. Now my rinse process, I usually use running water. This is probably the only part that I really use running water for. I try not to use so much water. So I use running water, and you do this for 3 minutes and you let it sit. And then you dump it out and you're good to go. All right, so after we rinse it for 3 minutes, the next step is to add your stabilizer. Now, basically what the stabilizer is going to do is going to stabilize these images to last for a lifetime. After you add your stabilizer, you don't want to rinse your film. You don't want to, no. Add your stabilizer, follow directions. You can agitate it for the first 15 seconds and then let it sit. Then, just like with all the chemicals, put that stabilizer back in there and you're good to go. And then once you're done with the stabilizer, go ahead, man, unroll it, hold that negative up to the light, and enjoy. You done develop some film. All right. So I hope this helps you guys. Like I said, I got a list of things below. I'm also gonna put some other, advice below in the description. So I hope this really helps you guys. But like I said, get you a film camera, shoot, and develop it. Peace. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button.